Okay, I get a lot of questions about the DataLink on an Allison transmission. So I wanted to take a video and show you what happens if that DataLink dies. So here we are. This is the Allison transmission. That's the engine. You can see it's shifting up the gears. The green light means that the lockup clutch is on. We're in third gear. That's our throttle. That's coming over the DataLink. As I vary the accelerator pedal, that number varies. The road speed is also sent over the DataLink, as is cruise control data and everything else. That's all sent over the DataLink to make the transmission actually operate as it should. The engine here, this is all on the j1939 link, and that's my engine parameters there, the turbo and your road speed and everything. That's coming off of the engine itself. This is a second port on my transmission TCM. What I want to do is run this, and then we're going to break the DataLink here in a second. So then we'll purposely knock the DataLink down, and I'll show you what the Allison does in response to losing the DataLink. So right now it's all normal. You can see with the green light, the lockup clutch is on. It's shifting gears normally. It's downshifting and upshifting and doing everything that a transmission should do. You can see there's our torque converter slip at 0 because our lockup is on. So everything's good. Now we're going to stop here. We got a red light, or we got a bunch of traffic here. We got to wait it through. We'll take that DataLink offline. So the lockup clutch kicked off, and our throttle's on 0 because our foot's not on the pedal right now. And so everything's there. We're going to go around this corner. We're going to come up here. Kicks in second gear. You can hear the engine rev. So now we're going to knock the DataLink down and see what it does. See what do the ECM and the TCM do when you knock down the DataLink on the Allison. This is an Allison 1000 that's talking to a T444E engine. This is a second gen, so it's got the single box computer. So now we've shut it down. You can see that the transmission computer wasn't happy. So we'll get out and we will disconnect the DataLink to the transmission, and we're going to see how does the transmission function when you do that. Hood up. This got a really nice springs on it, just lightweight. It's just a regular 444E. And we'll come over here and we'll find our DataLink connector. If you have a electronic Allison, you're going to have this connector right up here, and this is the one here that comes from the engine. So we're going to take that one and we're going to unplug it just like that. So now we've severed the DataLink. This is what comes from the engine. This goes off to my Allison transmission. So now the Allison transmission has no communication to the engine computer anymore. So we'll close this all up and we'll go for a drive, and we'll see, will it drive or will it limp the transmission? And so we'll do that now. But I get a lot of people asking questions about what does that DataLink do and why do I need it? And a lot of it has to do with the fact that you need to send parameters from the engine, such as the engine load factor and the throttle position and the cruise control information, off to the Allison transmission so that it knows what to do. Okay, we'll start it up. That parameter there. So now it's running with no DataLink. And so when we step on our throttle, notice we don't see it on our transmission. And guess what? Our check transmission light came on. That orange light up there, it's no longer for red school or yellow school lights. It is my check transmission indicator, and it is lit. But we don't have a check engine light down here. No warn engine light. See, the warn light's on, my oil change light's flashing. No warn light, and we haven't set any codes on the engine side. We've only set codes on the transmission side. So now the transmission doesn't know what to do. My throttle is at 22% and it thinks it's at 1%. So what the Allison's going to do is it's going to use the torque converter slip to approximate what it thinks the throttle is. So if I put it in gear, you can see there's my torque converter slip. When I step on it and slip it, notice how it attempts to, I'm power braking it, and it attempts to think what the throttle is. Even though the throttle was actually a lot higher, there's the engine, and there's the transmission. And you can see the torque converter slip is high, it goes in the red because it doesn't, you don't want to do that too much to it. Now we'll go for a drive, and we'll actually see what it does. We're in gear, we'll take our parking brake off, turn our lights on, it's getting kind of dark. We'll close the window so you don't have wind noise, and we will go. It's not that hot tonight. You see the miles per hour is coming up. The miles per hour is there too because the transmission is programmed to calculate its own miles per hour. And it shifted to second gear. It felt rough. It didn't shift exactly smooth like it normally would because it really didn't know what the throttle is. So it's going to err towards shifting harder because that's what it will. That's what's safer for the transmission. And we'll drive down here. It shifted rough there. There's another rough shift. And notice no lockup in second gear. And it doesn't want to shift at all now. We're in third, we're in fourth. And it is shifting, but it's not shifting well at all. You definitely don't want to drive it this way for far. You can see no lockup converter whatsoever. That blue light's still on. It should be turned green by now if the lockup converter was working. So you have no lockup converter when you have no DataLink. Check transmissions on. I'm sure that the code is probably a DataLink error. And the bus still drives, but the transmission would heat up very quickly driving it that way if I were to jump on the freeway with it. So that's what that DataLink does. So if your DataLink goes down, or you're trying to bring your DataLink up for the first time after doing a transmission swap, you're probably going to notice your transmission is going to have a lot of flares like mine does. You're going to hear the engine rev up right before it shifts, and then it's going to give you a good bump. And that's just because it really has no idea what it's doing, not knowing what the throttle is, not knowing what the engine load factor is, or any of that. So here we go again. You can see the torque converter slip. Bad flare. Another bad flare. You can see the throttle indicator jumping everywhere because it really doesn't know what it's doing. We're in fourth gear and it's just slipping away. And you can see the temperature start kind of going up already. It's gone up like 3 or 4 degrees just since we drove it that little bit. So you can tell you wouldn't want to drive it very far that way, and we're not going to. We're going to pull it over and we're going to give him his DataLink back. But all these different things that the engine has, the transmission needs to see that same kind of stuff to operate correctly with an electronic Allison. So if you're swapping in a 5,000, a 2000 series or whatnot. Anyway, that's that. I'm going to end this video here. I just wanted to kind of give you a little update on what they do. Like I say, you'll get a check transmission light. You won't get a check engine light because the engine really doesn't care if it sees a transmission or not. And you can see we've already warmed that thing up quite a bit. So that's the end of this video here on that. So I hope that clears things up about exactly what that DataLink does for you. That's the j1939 DataLink. And talk to you all later.